Here. Okay, everybody. Glad to have you with us tonight. Very pleased to see you. And we record these for posterity's sake. We hope that lots of people get the chance to see this on YouTube, or maybe we put it on Facebook or whatever in years to come. We hope that people will avail themselves of this stupendous and cosmogonal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And I think we've done every chapter in the Bhagavatam, and almost now, and in the Bhagavad Gita, and then we'll do Chaitanya Charitamrita next. But tonight, I'm happy to tell you, we're on the 10th canto of Summum Bonum. This is about the story of Krishna's life, and this is chapter 48. So we're well into the story of Krishna. He's already left Vrindavan, and he is now in Mathura, and he's getting ready to be all over the place. He'll be going to Dwarka before long, and we're going to hear about his stories as, more not a cowherd boy, but more as a real king, a prince, a noble personality. And we're going to find out more about that as we go. There's some great, great chapters coming up, stories that will take place that will entertain you better than any Spider-Man movie or uh, the Avengers or Batman or whatever that is. Those are simply sparks of the Lord's splendor. But when you get the whole package, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that all of the needs for water can be served by a great reservoir. In other words, you may have a small well, but if you have a great reservoir, then all your water needs are taken care of. So that's where we're headed with this. So we appreciate you guys very much. So as usual, I'm gonna start out. Say pranams with me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devim Gaudavani Paricharane Nirvishesha Shunyavad Paschat Yadeshantarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Giridhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 48, 10th canto. Krishna pleases his devotees. As usual, I'll read, I think we have about 70 verses tonight, so we have quite a few verses. So I'll do 15 and we'll go back around and see what happens, okay? Everybody grab 15 to start with and we'll go from there. So Sukadeva Goswami said, next, after assimilating Uddhava's report, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the omniscient soul of all that be, desired to satisfy the serving girl Trivakra, who was troubled by lust. Thus, he went to her house. Trivakra's home was opulently appointed, with expensive furnishings, and replete with sensual accoutrements meant to inspire sexual desire. There were banners, rows of strung pearls, canopies, fine beds, and sitting places, and also fragrant incense, oil lamps, flower garlands, and aromatic sandalwood paste. When Trivakra saw him arriving at her house, she at once rose from her seat in a flurry. Coming forward graciously with her girlfriends, she respectfully greeted Lord Achyuta by offering him an excellent seat and other articles of worship. Uddhava also received a seat of honor, since he was a saintly person, but he simply touched it and then sat on the floor. Then Lord Krishna, imitating the manners of human society, quickly made himself comfortable on an opulent bed. Trivakra prepared herself by bathing, anointing her body, and dressing in fine garments, by putting on jewelry, garlands, and perfume, and also by chewing betel nut, drinking fragrant liquor, and so on. She then approached Lord Madhava with shy, playful smiles and coquettish glances. Calling forward his beloved, who was anxious and shy at the prospects of this new contact, the Lord pulled her by her bangled hands onto the bed. Thus he enjoyed with that beautiful girl, whose only trace of piety was her having offered ointment to the Lord. Simply by smelling the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet, Trivakra cleansed away the burning lust Cupid had aroused in her breast, chest, and eyes. With her two arms, she embraced between her breast her lover, Sri Krishna, the personification of bliss, and thus she gave up her long-standing distress. Having thus gotten the hard-to-get Supreme Lord by the simple act of offering him body ointment, unfortunate Trivakra submitted to that Lord of freedom the following request. Trivakra said, her other name is Kubja, by the way, "O beloved, please stay here with me for a few days more and enjoy. I cannot bear to give up your association, O lotus-eyed one." Promising her the fulfillment of this lusty desire, considerate Krishna, Lord of all beings, paid Trivakra his respects and then returned with Uddhava to his own supremely opulent residence. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord of all lords, is ordinarily difficult to approach. One who has properly worshipped him and then chooses the benediction of mundane sense gratification is certainly of poor intelligence, for he is satisfied with an insignificant result. Then Lord Krishna, wanting to have some things done, went to Akrura's house with Balaram and Uddhava. The Lord also desired to please Akrura. Akrura stood up in great joy when he saw them, his own relatives, and the greatest of all exalted personalities coming from a distance. After embracing them and greeting them, Akrura bowed down to Krishna and Balaram and was greeted by them in return. Then, when his guests had taken their seats, he worshipped them in accordance with scriptural rules. Okay, who would like to pick up there at 15?
I'd love to. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you fine.
Okay, because I'm on my phone and my Bluetooth is dead, so I'm just
Sound good.
speaking away. Okay, let's go. O King Akrura, bathed the feet of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, and then poured the bath water on his head. He presented them with gifts of fine clothing, aromatic sandalwood paste, flower garlands, and excellent jewelry. After thus worshipping the two lords, he bowed his head to the floor. He then began to massage Lord Krishna's feet, placed them on his lap, and with his head bowed in humility, he addressed Krishna and Balaram as follows. Akrura said, "It is our good fortune that you have two lords who have killed the evil Kamsa and his followers, thus delivering your dynasty from endless suffering and causing it to flourish. You both are the original Supreme Person, the cause of the universe and its very substance. Not the slightest subtle cause or manifested product of creation exists apart from you. O Supreme Absolute Truth, with your personal energies, you create this universe and then enter it. As one can perceive one, you may be different forms by hearing from authorities and by different experiences." Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing my tablet clearly.
Okay.
Just as the primary elements and earth and so on manifest themselves in abundant variety among all species of mobile and immobile life, so you, the one independent Supreme Soul, appear to be manifold among the variegated objects of your creation. You create, destroy, and also maintain this universe with your personal energies, the mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness. You are never entangled by these modes or the activities they generate. Since you are the original source of all knowledge, what could ever cause you to be bound by illusion? Since it has never been demonstrated that you are covered by material bodily designations, it must be concluded that for you, there is neither birth in a literal sense nor any duality. Therefore, you never undergo bondage or liberation. If you appear to, it's only because of your desire that we see you in that way, or simply because of lack of discrimination. Prabhu, my tablet is just flickering on and off. I'm going to stop there. Just get upgraded.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to listen.
Okay, very good. Who would like to go next? Thank you, Jai Krishna Prabhu.
I think Bhavananda would like to read.
Okay.
There you go.
Go for it, Bob.
23. 23?
Yes, sir.
You originally enunciated the ancient religious paths of the Vedas for the benefit of the whole universe. Whenever that path becomes obstructed by wicked persons following the path of atheism, you assume one of your incarnations, which are all in the transcendental mode of goodness. You are that very same supreme person, my Lord, and you have now appeared in the home of Vasudeva with your planetary portions. You have done this to relieve the earth's burden by killing hundreds of armies led by kings who are expansions of the demigods' enemies, and also to spread the fame of our dynasty. Today, O Lord, my home has become most fortunate because you have entered it. As a supreme truth, you embody the forefathers, ordinary creatures, human beings, and demigods, and the water that has washed your feet purifies 3 worlds. Indeed, O Transcendental One, you are the spiritual master of the universe. What learned person approach anyone but you for shelter? Then you are the affectionate, grateful, and truthful well-wisher of your devotees. To those who worship you in sincere friendship, you reward everything they desire, even your own self, yet you never increase or diminish. It is by our great fortune,
Janardana,
that you are now visible to us. For even the master of yoga and the foremost demigods can achieve this goal only with great difficulty. Please quickly cut the ropes of our illusionary attachment for children, wife, wealth, influential friends, home, and body. All such attachments are simply the effect of your illusionary material energy. Sukadeva Goswami continued, thus worship and fully glorified by his devotee, the Supreme Lord Hari, smilingly addressed Akura, completely charming him with his words. The Supreme Lord said, "You are a spiritual master, paternal uncle, and praiseworthy friend, and we are, like your sons, always dependent on your protection, subsistence, and compassion. Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipful authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are. No one can deny that there are holy places with sacred rivers, or that the demigods appear to defy forms made by earth and stone. But these purify the soul only after a long time, whereas saintly persons purify just by being seen. You are indeed the best of our friends, so please go to
Hastinapura,
and, as the well-wisher of the Pandavas, find out how they are doing. In Sanskrit, the imperative "you go" may be written. That's a
no, that's the purple.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Go for it, Bob. 33.
Yeah. We have heard that when their forefathers pass away, the young Pandavas were brought with their anguished mother to the capital city by King Dhritarashtra, and that they are now living there. Indeed, weak-minded Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, has come under the control of his wicked sons, and therefore that blind king is not treating his brother's sons fairly. Go and see whether Dhritarashtra is acting properly or not. When we find out, we will make the necessary arrangements to help our dear friends.
One more.
One more. Sukadeva Goswami continued, Thus fully instructing Akura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari then returned to his residence, accompanied by Lord
Sankrishan.
Sankarshan and Uddhava.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Now we've got Vamsi Vilas up next. Haribol. Always happy to see your smiling face, Vamsi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. Text 1 on the next chapter.
Okay. Chapter 49, text 1. Sukadev Goswami said, Akrura went to Hastinapura, the city distinguished by the glory of the Paurava rulers. There he saw Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidura, and Kunti, along with Balika and his son Somadatta. He also saw Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Karna, Duryodhana, Ashwadhama, the Pandavas, and other close friends. After Akrura, the son of Gandhini, had appropriately greeted all his relatives and friends, they asked him for the news of their family members, and he in turn asked about their welfare. He remained in Hastinapura for several months to scrutinize the conduct of the weak-willed king who had bad sons and who was inclined to give it to the whims of the mischievous advisers. Kunti and Vidura described to Akrura in detail the evil intentions of Dhritarashtra's sons who could not tolerate the great qualities of Kunti's sons, such as their powerful influence, military skills, physical strength, bravery, and humility, or the intense affection the citizens had for them. Kunti and Vidura also told Akrura about how the sons of Dhritarashtra had tried to poison the Pandavas and carry out other such plots. Kunti Devi, taking advantage of her brother Akrura's visit, approached him confidentially. While remembering his birthplace, she spoke with tears in her eyes. Queen Kunti said, "O gentle one, do my parents, brothers, sisters, nephews, family women, and girlhood friends still remember me? Does my nephew Krishna, the Supreme Personality and the compassionate shelter of his devotees, still remember his aunt's sons? And does lotus-eyed Rama remember them also? Now that I am suffering in the midst of my enemies like a doe in the midst of wolves, will Krishna come to console me and my fearless sons with his words? Krishna, Krishna, O great yogi, O supreme soul and protector of the universe, O Govinda, please protect me who have surrendered to you. I and my sons are being overwhelmed by trouble. For persons fearful of death and rebirth, I see no shelter other than your liberating lotus feet, for you are the Supreme Lord. I offer my obeisances unto you, Krishna, the Supreme, pure, the absolute truth, and the Super Soul, the Lord of pure devotional service and the source of all knowledge. I have come to you for shelter." Sukadev Goswami said, thus meditating on her family members and also on Krishna, the Lord of the universe, your great grandmother Kunti Devi began to cry out in grief, O king. Both Akrura, who shared Queen Kunti's distress and happiness, and the illustrious Vidura consoled the queen by reminding her of the extraordinary way her sons had taken birth.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay. So who else do we have? Oh, we have a Rawati's with us. I don't know if she can read from text 16. I don't know if she can or not, but if not, Rangavati, please go ahead and pick it up from text 16, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Both Akrura, who shared Queen Kunti's distress and happiness. Oh no, we read that one, didn't we? I don't remember.
Text 16, the ardent affection King
Okay.
Dhritarashtra.
The ardent affection King Dhritarashtra felt for his sons had made him act unjustly towards the Pandavas. Just before leaving, Akrura approached the king, who was seated among his friends and supporters, and related to him the message that his relatives, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram, had sent out friendship. Akrura said, "My dear brother, Vichitravira, O enhancer of Kuru's glory, your brother Pandu, having passed away, you have now assumed the royal throne. By religiously protecting the earth, delighting your subjects with your noble character, and treating all your relatives equally, you will surely achieve success and glory. If you act otherwise, however, people will condemn you in this world and in the next. And in the next life, you will enter the darkness of hell. Remain equally disposed, therefore, towards Pandu's sons and your own. In this world, no one has any permanent relationship with anyone else, O king. We cannot stay forever, even with our own body. What to speak of our wife, children, and the rest? Every creature is born alone and dies alone, and alone one experiences the just rewards of his good and evil deeds. In the guise of dear dependents, strangers, still the sinful acquired wealth of a foolish man, just as the offspring of a fish drink up the water that sustains the fish. A foolish indulgence in sin to maintain his life, wealth, and children and other relatives, for he thinks, these things are mine. In the end, however, these very things all abandon him, leaving him frustrated. Abandoned by his so-called dependents, ignorant of the actual goal of life, indifferent to his real duty, and having failed to fulfill his purposes, the foolish soul enters the blindness of hell, taking his sinful reactions with him. Therefore, O king, looking upon this world as a dream, a magician's illusion, or a flight of fancy, please control your mind with intelligence and become equipoised and peaceful, my lord. Dhritarashtra said, O master of charity, I can never be satiated while hearing your auspicious words. Indeed, I am like a mortal who has ordained the nectar of the gods. Even so, gentle Akrura, because my unsteady heart is prejudiced by affection for my sons, these pleasing words of yours cannot remain fixed there, just as lightning cannot remain fixed in a cloud. We who defy the injunction of the Supreme Lord, who has now descended in the Yadu dynasty to diminish the earth's burden. I offer my obeisances to him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates this universe by the inconceivable activity of his material energy, and then distributes the various modes of nature by entering within creation. From him, the meaning of those pastimes is unfathomable. Come both the entangling cycle of birth and death, and the process of deliverance from it. Sukadev Goswami said, having thus appraised himself of the king's attitude, Akrura, the descendant of Yadu, took permission from his well-wishing relatives and friends and returned to the capital of the Yadavas. Akrura reported to Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna how Dhritarashtra was behaving towards the Pandavas. Thus, O descendant of the Kurus, he fulfilled the purpose for which he had been sent.
Wow, those are two great chapters. Thank you so much, Raghavati. And nice to have Rawati with us too. She's all the way from Ghana. So we're very pleased that she's here tonight, even though, there you go.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nice.
I couldn't follow Dandabat Pranam to you and everybody else. I couldn't follow, so I don't know where to go to read.
No problem. No problem. We're finished.
Canto 1.
We've got the two chapters done now, so we'll just have a little commentary about it. But next time when you come, let us know and we'll be sure you get to read, okay? Because we like to hear you read also.
So what canto you were reading?
We're in the 10th canto now, and we're in chapters 48 and 49.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just completed those two chapters. So I'm going to ask if there's any questions at this time, any comments or questions anybody would like to make, and then we'll just review the chapters just quickly. Okay, so, and feel free to chime in at any point. What I see here, the first thing that I see is that these wonderful explanation that we hear from Akrura at the end of this chapter kind of are a wake-up call to everybody. They're a wake-up call to everybody. And so in Krishna and Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, you might remember, he says in text 47, 247, that you do have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you do not and we are not entitled to the fruits of your action. So in this case, we see that the king was very attached to the fruits of his action. Being attached to the fruits of your action is demoniac. It's actually a demoniac activity because you don't recognize God as the provider and you don't offer it back in sacrifice. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yagyartat karma nonyacha, loko yam karma bandhana. Tadartam karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. So if you don't want to be bound up, like Akrura is talking about, bound up in birth and death and repeated suffering in the material world, then you have to actually find out what is the way of deliverance. And so he's delineated that Krishna is not only the one that's created this illusion of birth and death, old age and disease that we are partaking in because of our independent activities from Krishna, but he's also saying you are the person who actually developed the system of deliverance. So if you want to know how to be delivered from this material world, you either have to hear it from Krishna or from his pure devotees. And by hearing, then one can understand who is Krishna, what is the condition that the soul is finding itself in this repeated illusion of birth, death, old age, and disease, and the methodology to exit this miserable, hellish place where there's danger at every step. So Krishna goes on in the Bhagavad Gita to say, you have the right to perform your duty, but do it equipoised. In other words, abandon all attachment to the success or the failure of your acts and just be experiencing a state of equanimity is called yoga. Krishna says equanimity is called yoga. So a lot of people interpret yoga to mean so many different things. Obviously, it means yoke or connection with Krishna. And it is the ancient science of self-realization and the great science of karmakanda in the material world. If you'd like to stay here and try to enjoy this place, like Dhritarashtra is doing, and you can be as attached to it as you want. But what's going to happen is you're going to find misery. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, matra sparsas tikonteya satosna sukha dukkada. In other words, there's good and there's bad, there's happiness, there's distress, there's heat, there's cold, there's pleasure, there's pain. Karma kanda means, no, I just want pleasure. So in this chapter, it's described that the demigods, actually, Krishna is saying that the demigods are generally self-interested. So love is not a self-interested situation. It's an interest in another party. Okay. So for an example, when you fall in love with Krishna, you want to see Krishna happy, and you'll do whatever it takes. You'll sacrifice any measure for love. There's these songs that we see, that we've heard. I'll climb the highest mountain. I'll swim the deepest sea. There's nothing that can keep me from you, right? So this is a material affection for the body and for the items of the objects of the senses, which we consider to be mine, but they're not ours. They're not ours at all. As a matter of fact, Krishna says that you should keep all these abominable activities far distant by devotional service. Because if you're not doing it in a state of devotional service, it's an abomination. It's the ruination of your life. And you'll go alone to suffer the karmic reactions. You can call on the army to save you. You can ask the president to come and save you. You could get your mom or dad or somebody to try to save you, or sons or children. No one can save you, because it's a solo flight. It's a solo flight. So it's you alone in the beginning, it's you alone in the end, and ultimately it's you alone with Krishna at the time of death. In the Bible, it says to be absent the body is present of the Lord. So at that time, you'll be able to meet the Lord, and you can find out what's your next program to become purified. Or if you'd rather stay in the material world, Krishna will help you with that as well. So you have to have the right desires, you have to have the right understanding, and that's why this Bhagavatam is so important, because when we hear the words of Uddhava or Akrura or Krishna or any of the great souls and their prayers and so forth and so on, we can see what self-realization truly is. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Najayate Mriyate Vakadachin, Nayam Bhuva Bhavitava Nabuya, Ajo Nitya Shashvato Yang Purano, Nahanyate Hanyamane Sarire. And that means that for the soul, there's never actually any birth or death, nor having once been does he ever cease to be. The soul is unborn, undying, primeval, eternal, ever existing, and he is eternally the same. He is not slain when the body is slain. So is the body more important than the soul? No. The body is temporary at best. Family members are temporary at best. So if we give up our lives and our future for these temporary things, and we don't understand them in their true perspective, we will be the victims of our own demise and our own devices. So we have to be very, very careful not to allow those things to happen to us, right? So if we're watching out, because you will take a new body if you have karma to suffer and joy, right? Vasamsi janani yata vihaya navani grinati naropurani tata sarirani vihaya janani anyani samyati navani dehi. And that means that you may be changing your clothes because one thing is wearing out, you take it off and put on something else. The same thing exists when it comes to taking a new body. You get a new dress, Krishna awards you based on your desire. So what is your desire? That has to be the primary question for everyone, to purify their desire and to understand what their goal in life should be. So Krishna says that a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. So he recommends to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, strive for yoga. Yoga is the art of all work. And what is yoga? Adding Krishna, the missing ingredient. Everything else is here, but if you're forgetting Krishna, then you're forgetting the primary ingredient. And we've all seen how when we have a pie or a cake or this or that, and we're missing certain ingredients, it doesn't taste right. It doesn't come out right. So we have to have those types of agreement or ingredients that will deliver us. Krishna says, by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages and devotees free themselves from the results of work in this world.
That's a foul.
I'm sorry?
Tackle.
Hello?
Technically.
Because
Raghavati, you have a question?
no, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Well, you want to go ahead and mute, okay? So it says, okay, so the final thought here that I wanted to give you about this is it says, Krishna says, by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages and devotees freed themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back home, back to Godhead. Did you get it? So there's Krishna explaining the situation for you. And now you have the methodology for being delivered from the material world and not having to come back to this place of repeated suffering, birth and death, old age and disease. Okay? So Krishna pleases his devotees, doesn't he? Everything he does, he pleases his devotees. So he went to, in the beginning of chapter 48, he went to see Kubja, Trivakra, and because she had offered some ointment, like unjan, she offered. And she had never had a pious activity in her life, right? Never had a pious activity in her life, never done anything good. She was filled with lust. It's called burning torment. That's what it was described as. Burning torment. You know, because lust is something you can never satisfy. Doesn't matter how hard you try, how much money you spend on it, how far you to climb the highest mountain or swim the deepest sea. You're not going to satisfy your desires unless they're connected with Krishna. So what happens to her? It says here that simply by smelling the fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet, Trivakra cleansed away the burning lust Cupid had aroused in her breast, in her eyes, and her chest. And with her two arms, she embraced Sri Krishna, the personification of bliss, and thus she gave up her long-standing distress. Now, she asked Krishna to come back, not to leave. Stay with us a little longer. Let's enjoy together. And Krishna promised that he would come back and fulfill her desire. He actually promised that because she had a desire to serve the Lord in this way. So when we think of how to serve the Lord, naturally we want to do it in a most favorable way because this is our sampradaya. We're taught to do everything in a favorable way for Krishna. But she was trying to serve Krishna really in an unfavorable way. And so was all of the other devotees that end up dying on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and so forth and so on. They're serving the Lord, but they're doing it in an unfavorable way. And so therefore, they are also blessed. They're also blessed. But it's not our guru's desire for us that we would serve unfavorably. Our goal would be to serve the Lord favorably, and by withdrawing our senses from these sense objects and controlling our mind and our senses. Yada sangharate chayam kurmon garniva sarvasha. Kurmon. You know what a kurmon is? You know what kurma is? Anybody know what that is? Kurmon garniva sarvasha. Do you know what that is? Indriyan indriyarte vyas tasya pragya pratishtitaha. So kurmon means the turtle, like the tortoise. So Krishna is recommending that we draw our senses back in the shell like the tortoise draws his arms and head and everything back in the shell. So if you see something that is bad, you see something that is wrong, if you look at it long enough, you can become attracted by it. This is what happened to Ajamil, right? We know the story, right? Is that correct? That's right. So he had lost his self to lust. And he was born, I guess, originally in a Brahmin family. But later, he revived it. He was able to revive that. So the idea is he saw something happen in the forest as he was going. He saw these two lovers embraced. And because he meditated on it, his devotional service was ruined. So the idea is you have to withdraw the senses again from the sense objects like the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell. Anyone who's capable of doing that is understood to be an actual state of knowledge. That's the actual state of knowledge that is deliverable and presentable to Krishna. So yes, the rivers are being full, but the ocean is still. So the senses are constantly taking in their objects and they're meditating on their objects like that. But the ocean remains still. And you do that by being equipoised and have that equilibrium that Krishna is talking about. Now, Trivakra did not have that, obviously, and she was a slave and tormented by this lust. But because she offered it to Krishna, it became perfected. Just like Putana offered a poisoned breast to Krishna, and Krishna accepted and delivered her. Just like Bhishma sending arrows and watching blood come from Krishna. Now, Krishna is doing this as a pastime. But Krishna felt like it was flowers being offered to him by his devotee. You see what I'm saying? So this idea that Krishna is some conservative thing, we get it in the Christian philosophy primarily. But Krishna is the source of everything, all things. And therefore, everything must be offered back to the Lord, no matter what it is. So recently I heard about a story of someone who died, was killed. It's on the news, it was killed, but the family was Christian. So they immediately forgave the person who killed their daughter or their son, I think it was. And they immediately forgave and prayed for their forgiveness. So do you think Krishna will be happy with that? Yes. Now he may still, the man may, whoever did this activity, he may get his karma, but Krishna is very pleased with that soul who's willing to forgive, because that person obviously understands that this is a temporary life we're living in. And therefore, they're sacrificing everything for the sake of devotional service, which is what is recommended here. In the Bible, it even says, don't lay your treasures up in heaven. I mean, don't lay your treasures up here where rust and moth and all these things are corrupting, but lay your treasures up in the spiritual world, because that way it's protected. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in this effort, there's no loss or diminution. So we understand all this stuff from Evam Parampara Praptam, Imam Rajarsiyo Vidu. That means we're learning through the Parampara. We get this information handed down by thoroughly honest spiritual masters. This is not something that we're concocting. We're not making it up. We're not manufacturing, as Prabhupada said, anything. We're simply giving truth as it is given in these ancient Vedic texts, as Prabhupada has delivered them to us as they are, without any degradation to the message. And that's our job as well, to keep true to the message from permanently. That's our goal, is to give this message correctly. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yato yato nischalati mamaschanchalam ashritam. So what that means is, from wherever and whatever the mind is wandering, a person has to bring it back under the control of the self. You have to do that. Otherwise, the mind will control you. You'll either control your mind or the mind will control you. And if the mind controls you, it's like being in a runaway bus headed towards the cliff, because the mind is not discriminatory. It wants to place the object of the sense on the senses. That's what it wants to do. So it has to be governed by the intelligence, and the intelligence comes from the spiritual master. The intelligence comes from the parampara. And by hearing this information, we become Krishna conscious. And in so doing, we become liberated from this birth and death. Unfortunately, Krishna says that out of many, many thousands among men who may endeavor for perfection or to find the truth, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So we're privileged to know Krishna in truth. because we have a spiritual master who has not denigrated the message and preserved this message for 5,000 years through an unbroken chain of disciplic succession coming down to us so that we can hear it as it is, without any deviation from Krishna's original message. So it's very, very, very important that we stay together here and that we hear this, because Krishna is saying, Matak parataram nanyat kanschidashti dhananjaya. In other words, he's saying, there is no truth superior to me. Nothing. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung upon a thread. There is no truth superior to Krishna. Now, he also says that the mind of those who are irresolute, who don't know the truth, is many-branched. So, you ever been to a maze before, like a corn maze? Has anybody ever done that? Well, most of it's dead end. There's only one way out. You go into the corn maze, and you're going to get lost in there, because everywhere you go, there's a wall until you find the one way out. So what Krishna has done in Bhagavad Gita, what he's done in these stories, what he's doing in these wonderful two stories that we read tonight with Uddhava and Akrura, he is revealing to you the one way out. You see what I'm saying? You can get out of the corn maze, you can quit being lost, and quit dying because you're hitting dead ends. Finally, there's no place to go. You're trapped. And therefore, death is certain in that environment. So he also goes on to say in 7:19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. And that means after many, many births and deaths, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. They surrender to me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. And by the way, did we meet a great soul tonight? We sure did. If you listen to the prayers of Akrura's prayers, that's text 18. Let's look at those. Text 18. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Text 18 through about 27. Akrura says, you both, he's talking to Balaram and to Krishna, he said, you both are the original supreme person, the cause of the universe and its very substance. Not the slightest subtle cause or manifest product of creation exists apart from you. Nothing exists apart from you. So you got to offer it all back to Krishna. Everything should be a sacrifice. Everything should be for Krishna's sake, for his pleasure. What he wants is what we want. And when that happens, we're going home. We're going back to Godhead. There's no question about it. There's no question. There's no fear. You no need to be insecure. Krishna's watching over you. He's going to take care of everything you need. So if you read on from Akrura's prayers, he says that you create, destroy, and maintain the universe with your personal energies. Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. They're there. The three modes, passion, goodness, and ignorance are all there. And he says, even though you've created these things, you're never entangled by them. You're never entangled by these modes or the activities that they generate. You're the original source of all knowledge. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartamavyayam. Krishna says, this is the supreme education. This is the confidential knowledge you were looking for. Here it is. Now, why isn't the world knocking down the door tonight to get this information? You think they may be affected by lust? A little bit? Maybe a little greed? Maybe they think that all of these things that they see before them belong to them. Do you think they think like that? Yeah, of course. They think they own their family, they own their children, they own their wife, they own their car, they own their money, they don't own nothing. Everything belongs to Krishna. So it says, Krishna is not bound by these things. He says, you are never bound by illusion, but we are. And so therefore we have to find our way out. You never undergo bondage. You never undergo liberation because you are always eternally free. You're the creator of all these things. So it says you enunciated the ancient religious path of the Vedas for the benefit of the whole universe. You did that. Veda Vyas. God incarnates in various ways to bring us this truth, to bring us this information. And so he's done that. In the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, we read about Veda Vyas, and we found out exactly that he is the incarnation to write these things down. So the whole Vedas are compiled. And Krishna says, I'm to be known by the Vedas. So he goes on to say, his home has become most fortunate because you have entered it. So Krishna can enter your home too. He can be there in the pictures. He can be there in the books. He can be there when you offer your prayers. You could teach your family how to chant. You could do all of these things. Offer all your food to Krishna. Offer some wealth that you've made back to Krishna. Whatever it is you got to use it in the Lord's service. Otherwise, it binds you to the material world, to the work in the material world. So he says, you're the spiritual master of the entire universe. So why do we constantly refer back to what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita? Because it's part of this great Mahabharata. It's part of this Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is a cream of the Vedic literatures, the very essence of the Vedic literatures. And Bhagavad Gita is one chapter in the Mahabharata, which we're getting ready to find out. The Battle of Kurukshetra and all that's coming up. So he says, you reward everything that everyone desires, even if you give your own self to them. If they want you, then you give yourself to them. But if you want a part of Krishna, if you want a spark of his splendor, go for it. But you're not getting Krishna. So Kubja, Trivakra, she wanted to enjoy with Krishna in one way. But it was her perfection, obviously, because she offered some ointment to the Lord. The Lord granted her desire. So the Lord is granting everyone's desire since time immemorial, but he is never diminished by giving something away. Like if you got $1 million and you give $1 million, all of a sudden you have no more money. Okay, so you're diminished by giving, but Krishna is never diminished by giving. So he says, he asked him, he said, they are the masters of yoga. Balaram and Krishna are the masters of yoga. Okay, so he says, please quickly cut the ropes of our illusory attachment for children, wife, wealth, influential friends, home and body. All such attachment is simply the effect of your illusory energy. Need I say more? I don't think so. So you get it. So he regarded Akrura as his spiritual master. Krishna said, you are our spiritual master. You're our paternal uncle. You're a praiseworthy friend. He said, we are like your sons. This is God talking. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I'm equal to everyone. It doesn't matter. I want everybody to benefit. Whatever they offer to me, I reciprocate accordingly. That's the way it works. But it says that because whatever you offer, you get back. But Krishna says, if you act as a friend to me, then I am a friend to you. If you just offer me a little friendship, I'll be your friend. Right? Have you ever remember when you were a kid, you're on a playground and you like go to a new school or something like that. You're looking around and go, I don't have any friends here. So you go up to somebody and ask them if they'll be your friend. Can I play with you? It's that simple. Can Can I serve you? Can I do something? Will you engage me, Lord? Please do something. Come into my life and make my life perfected by simply adding the one ingredient, which is you. And by the way, if you have Krishna, you have everything. So why would you take any part of Krishna when you're going to have the whole thing? Why would you do that? It would be foolish. So he says that since Akrura is his best friend, he's sending him on another adventure to Hastinapur to see Dhritarashtra and Drona and find out what's happening with Kunti and everybody. And he's going to go up there and stays a long time, right? And he comes back with the story to Krishna. And Krishna is unfortunately dismayed at hearing the story. It said that weak-minded Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, has come under the control of his wicked sons, and therefore that blind king is not treating his brothers' sons fairly. So Krishna doesn't like it when people are treated unfairly, right? So when Akrura goes in the next chapter, he gives him good advice. At the end of that chapter, Akrura tells the king what he needs to be doing. And I believe that is in text 20 through 25. Let's look. Let's see if I'm right. Yeah. He tells Dhritarashtra, he gives him great advice. He says, therefore, O king, looking upon this world as a dream or a magician's illusion or a flight of fancy, please control your mind and your intelligence and become equipoised and peaceful, my Lord. So it's virtually he's saying what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, what we just delineated by Krishna's verses in Bhagavad Gita. We can see that Akrura understands all that, and he's advising Dhritarashtra to do the right thing. And unfortunately, Dhritarashtra says, "O master of charity, I can never be satiated while hearing your auspicious words." But he goes on to say, because my heart is unsteady, it's prejudiced. He uses the word prejudiced. He said, my heart is prejudiced by affection for my sons, and these pleasing words of yours cannot remain fixed in my mind, just as lightning cannot remain fixed in a cloud. So Dhritarashtra comes clean. He tells him, man, I'm in Maya. He tells him, I'm in trouble. He tells him. He even knows who the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He offers his obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead who creates the universe. He knows all about it, but he is unable to control his mind. That's why he's called the weak-minded Dhritarashtra. Krishna says, weak-minded. So he's unable to control his mind. So he's telling us that we have to control our mind to be able to be. And there's so much more in this chapter, guys. I mean, it's already 8:02. I've got several more things that I could definitely go over, but I think I'll stop here if you don't mind. And you guys can ask any questions or add anything to the conversation if you want to, because this chapter's got so much more to offer. Both these chapters do that we could spend another hour or two unpacking some of this stuff. But anyway, I think I'll stop there and see what your questions are or comments. Any questions?
What a story, Hare Krishna.
Whoa!
What a story. What it takes to become a perfect or Godhead, to meet Godhead, to become Godhead. And two, does it take a body and a soul, your body and a soul to become perfect? You need the body and the soul to become perfect?
Yes.
And three, according to all these stories that we hear, Krishna is the best entrepreneur. He teaches us how to do business. Any slip we make, we're going to be in trouble. Hare Krishna.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, the answer is yes, you need a body and soul. So that's why even Prabhupada said health comes first, but even before you're chanting. Because if you don't have a body, you're not going to be able to do devotional service. So you need a body, and you got to protect your body. The body is considered to be a sturdy boat that can cross over the ocean of nescience as long as you have a healthy body and it's engaged in devotional service. So you'll never become Godhead. You'll become a servant of Godhead. So your first question is, how do you become perfected? I've answered the other two questions, so I'll answer the first question for you now. The way you become perfected, Krishna says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji nam namaskaru. In other words, constantly think of me. Engage yourself in my devotional service. Worship me. Surely by thinking of me constantly, you will come to me. Krishna says like that in Bhagavad Gita. So every activity should be an activity of sacrifice. Sacrifice means that I'm giving everything back to the one who gave it all to me out of love. Just like a little child may not have anything, but if they go get a simple flower or even a weed, my children used to go out, they didn't know the difference when they were really young. They'd pick up a weed and it had a little flower on it, they'd bring it to me or to their mother. And, you know, it was a weed, but we loved it. We were like, oh, that's better than 2 dozen roses. I mean, because it's coming from the heart of an innocent child. In the Bible, it says you must become as children to enter into the kingdom of God. And what that means is become simple. Don't be complex. Make your life simple. Add Krishna. Do the right thing. Do it every day. It's only going to be a few years, and then death will come. You can count on it. It's going to happen. And when it does, you'll remember Krishna, and you'll go back home, back to Godhead. Because we know that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever you remember at the time of death, you will remember. Surely that's what you will remember, and that's what you'll attain. So he says, Satatam Kirtayanto Mang, Yatantas Chadridha Brata, Mamayantas Chamam Bhaktya, Nitya Yukta Upasate. So he says, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. There's your answer. Krishna gave you the answer. That's 9:14 in the Bhagavad Gita. You can look it up. And you can understand, if you read the purport, that if you simply do a devotional act. I mean, look at what Kubja did. She had nothing. She had no pious activities in her life. She was filled with lust. But she had this ointment she had made for the king. And so she offered it to Krishna. And so Krishna fulfilled her desire, whatever that was. And in that way of fulfilling her desire, she became perfected. Just like the gopis, they approached Krishna and he accepted. Just like Mother Yasoda, Devaki, Nandana, all of these souls are the cowherd boys. They're approaching Krishna in surrender. And so by surrendering to the Lord and giving everything back to the Lord in devotion, the Lord will carry what you lack and preserve what you have. He says that in Bhagavad Gita too. Those who worship me with devotion and meditating on my transcendental forms, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So Krishna is there to take care of you. Great questions. Thank you for that. Really good
Hare
question.
Krishna. Krishna said, we are equal to him. Is it that? Or no, we are not different from him.
Not different. It's called a Chinta Beta Beta Tattva. The Chinta Beta Beta Tattva means we are simultaneously one and different. What that means is it's like, okay, so the drop of water in the ocean is the same quality as the whole ocean. Same quality. same as the whole ocean, but it's not the whole ocean. It's infinitesimal where the ocean is infinite. So Krishna is infinite and we're infinitesimal. We're like sparks in his flame. We're little small sparks. But we don't become Godhead. We don't become Krishna. We are already part and parcel of Krishna. And so therefore we're perfected already. We just forgotten ourselves in this illusion called the material world. So we have to remember these things by hearing from the sampradaya of pure devotees. And that's what we're doing tonight. So I hope that answers your question.
Haribol, yes, yes. Haribol.
Well, Vamsi's got something for us too, because look at Vamsi sitting over there. He's so patient, but he knows so much about this stuff. He actually ought to be doing the preaching here. Really, come on, Vamsi. Lay it on.
I was just thinking about, like Mataji was saying about, and you were reiterating about Kubja, even though she had lusty desires, she got purified. It says, like, from the lotus, the tulsi smell coming from the Lord's lotus feet, she got purified. So, whatever be our situation, if we go to Krishna, he will take care of us. So it doesn't matter if you're an exalted devotee or a neophyte. It looks like there's a lot of hope if we surrender to the Lord. And because there are sages who are doing penance for many, many years and they can't get what Kubja got, though she was like a lusty person. And it's like some say that she is the reincarnation of Shurpanaka, the sister of Ravan, who had come to enjoy Ram. And since the Lord, uh, because his mood was different as Ram, he was just with one wife, and he was always upholding the rules. But Krishna is willing to give himself up for anybody who wants to give him affection. So we see that the Lord, gave himself up to this lusty person, and then she got purified. So gives us a lot of hope.
You can even be a demon and Krishna will deliver you. So, but it's not recommended. I mean, come on, it's not recommended. I mean, but if you are a demon and you offer that mindset to the Lord, you can hate Krishna and still Krishna will bless you. Because if you look at Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and you look at Kamsa, and you look at all these great demons throughout all time, you find that they're obsessed with the Lord, obsessed through hatred, through envy, whatever it is. You can use everything that you have for Krishna and give it back to Krishna, and he will accept it. It's just like if you put stool and urine outside in the sun, in a short period of time, it's purified. It's no longer filthy. It becomes part of nature. And as a matter of fact, it's necessary. Necessary so that you can grow your food and so many things. So Krishna is perfected in all these things. And if we approach him, whatever way we approach him, look at the Nectar of Devotion. Read all these different subtle rasas within the five rasas. And you'll find out that Krishna can handle whatever you want. A lot of people are attracted to horror. Did you know that? I was looking the other day and somebody was posting some, I just saw it as I was scrolling. It says that they really enjoy horror. And especially the bloodier, the more ghastly, they love that. And I'm like, what? I mean, I don't feel that way, but maybe you can be in different modes. In the mode of goodness, we don't want that, obviously. But in the mode of ignorance, it's wanted. So you can approach Krishna in all of these different types of ecstasies. They become ecstasies when they're used in Krishna's service. Bhishma himself was laying on a bed of arrows. Try to imagine sustaining his life as a yogi, as a great soul. But you imagine the pain if you were laying on a bed of arrows to control your mind and be able to offer prayers for several days and speak Bhagavad Dharma. Come on. So whatever your situation is, Krishna says, whether you want all material things or you want all spiritual things, come to me for it. Come to me. And Krishna will reward you accordingly. So another place in Bhagavad Gita says we should not disturb the mind of the ignorant, but instead engage them in the way of devotion. So would you say that Kubja was ignorant? Yes, but she was living a life of ignorance, in the mode of passion or ignorance. But because she made one act of devotion, one act, that's what it says. I mean, it's one act, she achieved her perfection, which is a perfection that you just mentioned, Vamsi, that even great yogis who try for life after life or even thousands of years in one life to attain Krishna through jnana, or whatever, or through yoga, austerities, Krishna's not so pleased as he is with this woman who simply makes one act, even though she had no piety at all. So, no figures.
We know the
Hare Krishna.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The washerman did not give Krishna the clothes, and Krishna beheaded him. So that's like the materialists in this world, because they turned their favor away from Krishna. They're just living a cycle of life and death. It's just like the washerman. But then Kubja, just because she gave the ointment to Krishna, he kind of straightened her, bent over back, and also, came to our home. So all we need is to just offer what we have to the Lord and take care of it.
We're good to go. Yeah, and at the very end, Krishna's so kind, he comes as Kalki and kills everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna kills you, he delivers you. So these are people who didn't want Krishna at all for the whole manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And Krishna still comes for them. How good is our God? That's what I want to know. I mean, Krishna is Sudasabha. He's beyond Sudasabha. He's the creator of Sudasabha. He is everything. I mean, there's really nothing that exists outside of Krishna. So knowing that, he says, the wise surrender to me and they worship me with all their hearts in Bhagavad Gita. We just had Gita Jayanti. I don't know if everybody was able to celebrate, but just hearing Bhagavad Gita, it's just so refreshing, isn't it? I mean, because everything that's in there is the answers to all the questions you've ever wanted. I mean, there's no question left at the end of the reading of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, you will not have questions. So, guys, we're blessed, and I'm blessed to have you as my friends and my associates, and I wish you would pray for Gayatri Das. I need your prayers all the time, and for Vrindavan Forest, if you don't mind. We're trying to do a project for Krishna here at Duck River Preserve, and we'd really appreciate your help and your prayers for us. And we think that would help us achieve Krishna's mercy. So be kind to us if you don't mind. We're a voice crying in the wilderness out here. So thank you for supporting us. And repeat after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Rama.
Rama.
Rama
Rama
Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
I feel better. Thank you so much for your good association tonight. May Krishna confer all his blessings on you and your families, especially at this holiday season. So we'll see you the next week, okay?
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Krishna.
Be
Hare
careful
Bol.
out there. Haribol.